Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Good morning for my followers who is watching this. Today, this video is going to be about Brittney Griner and her release. And what does that mean um, for us, or what it actually don't mean for us, but what it means for the Biden's administration. Um, Brittney Griner, who was in prison in Russia from having a certain amount of cannabis oil, and she is a woman of color from the LBGQTI agenda. I mean, a community. And Biden's LBGQTI agenda is in full work, where there are other Americans who are imprisoned in Russia for more serious charges or alleged charges. And since there's still many people from the African American community in the US who are in prison because of marijuana, it brings up some questions about Biden, because these people are not getting reduced sentence. So what is this with Brittney Griner? This is no other than tokenism. And Biden, he knocks out two birds with one stone with helping the release of Brittney Griner for the swap of some armed dealer, Russian armed dealer. Now, there are many people who are in the opposition of Biden who was upset because there's other prisoner, and one gentleman in particular who is in prison in Russia for longer than Brittney Griner. And they're asking, why are they helping Brittney Griner and not him? And the other Americans, some of them are veterans, some of them are people of the military or veterans who have been set up as they claim they've been set up. So the reason why I see in this playbook of Biden is that Biden is looking to get reelected, and it is showing the tokenism of two things. Um, Trying to get sympathy from the black community because Brittney Griner is also black, and also for the LBGQTI community. This was a political play. This is why he chose Brittney before any of the Americans who've been in prison for longer than her and been requesting help from the U.S. But it's Biden is showing his political move right now. He's trying to get the votes of the African Americans, and he's trying to get votes from the LBGQTI community. He's trying to knock out two birds with one stone. Also, this type of tokenism that Biden is displaying right now will not get the Black Americans' vote. We definitely won't get our vote for this, because what Biden is trying to do is beat around the bush of not giving Black Americans reparation. He believes that if he give us this type of tokenism of freeing Brittney Griner, this is going to replace, or is better than giving Black people in America reparation or some type of bill or something that is tangible for the Black community in the US who's still suffering from Jim Crow, who's still suffering from systemic racism, who's still suffering from slavery in America. Financially, we're still suffering due to those things, slavery and Jim Crow. Biden hasn't passed any bills since he's been in office that's specific for Black Americans. So Joe Biden is helping Brittney Griner because there's other Americans who are ahead of her in Russia that needs the help. that needs the help because they was trying to swap 2 Americans for that one Russian armed dealer. And the other American who was in there was also a veteran, which means he fought for this U.S. government. Brittney Griner didn't fight for the U.S. government. Brittney Griner was in Russia playing basketball on a Russian team. She knew the consequences from bringing that stuff over there. And this was not her first time there. She's not a veteran. She didn't go fight for the constitutional right or to preserve U.S. Constitution, like the gentleman who's sitting in prison in Russia right now, who's American, who's a veteran, who's been set up. So Biden getting Brittney Griner out ahead of him, she jumped the quay, meaning she jumped the line. He helped her get out because it's tokenism. Joe Biden rather get Brittney Griner out of prison, out of Russia, while many Black Americans sit in prison on the same type of drug charges of marijuana. They're not getting released. Joe Biden's only doing that for tokenism, so he doesn't have to push any legislation, any bills that's going to help Black Americans. Because Joe Biden doesn't want to give reparation to Black people. Black people right now are all talking about reparation for Blacks, what happened to us in slavery, what happened to us under Jim Crow. Even where Blacks resided, and they built their own cities and towns. They built their own economic system for them to survive. The white man came around and still destroyed that out of jealousy and hatred for Blacks. Tallahassee. All the different massacres that happened in the U.S. when Black people under segregation try to do for self, and the whites went into their communities and burned it down and killed them. And they had the help of the U.S. government on top of that to do these crimes. Black people who've been ostracized from economics in the U.S., while slave masters in the Civil War was compensated for freeing their slaves or letting go their slaves after the Civil War. They was compensated. They was given reparation. But Blacks didn't get anything. So this is just Joe Biden, tokenism from Joe Biden, hoping that Black people is going to elect him by freeing Brittney Griner. You're not going to get the Black votes. This type of tokenism is going to get you nowhere. Rather yet, maybe some of those white Democrats who voted for you over Donald Trump, who voted for you, you might, with this move, you might have lost some of those white voters, Biden, just because of tokenism. Wrong strategy. Black people are still not going to vote for you. Brittney Griner is not somebody influence or influencer in the Black community. Many Black people don't know nothing about her until she got arrested in Russia for marijuana. Most Black people didn't know nothing about her. So this type of tokenism is not going to get the Black votes. Black people want reparation or something tangible along with that. A bill. Anti-lynching bill. Something to stop police brutality. Make it a hate crime. Every time, make it a hate crime to prevent police and other white people from shooting up and killing Blacks. Just like you made the anti-Asian hate bill. This type of tokenism, it's not going to work. Black people, we're more smarter than that. Black people are more smarter than that. And the LBGQTI agenda, all I see with Biden is that he is trying to push their narrative and help their community and forgetting about the American people. There was other people before the quake, but it's good. It's good, Biden, that you let her out. What what was a sign that is good that Biden let Brittney Griner help her get out? What's the good sign? It's a sign that Biden is desperate because Biden, by letting her out, and the other white men who are in prison in Russia who've been there longer than her, is showing that Biden is off cold. So amongst white people, especially the white people who are Republicans, the white people who are Democrats and voted for Joe Biden, is like, hey man, them gentlemen are veterans in the military. One of them is a veteran, been in there longer than her. How she jumped the quay. So even those white Democrats are like, yo, Joe Biden, you off cold. You know, white men got their own code. They're like, yo, you off cold. Someone say, well, this is Biden's strategy for the re-election to get the LBGQTI votes and hoping at the same time get some votes from blacks by pulling this particular political stunt. It's going to backfire on him. Might have lost some of his white Democratic voters. It might vote for Mike Pence next election, presidential election. So black people, we need to wake up. We need to really sit down and like don't get confused by this political nonsense, these political strategies. Biden did all of this just because he doesn't want to give black people reparation, what black people are talking about. The current administration, they don't want to, they hear what we're talking about. Black peoples are talking about everywhere reparation for what happened to our ancestors in slavery. Joe Biden gave reparations to illegal immigrants that were separated at the border due to Trump administration. You giving them reparation, but you won't get reparation for all the African Americans who built this country for free labor. You forbid us to learn how to read. You forbid us to know our own language. You forbid us to have our own family names and traditions. All of that's lost for African Americans. We don't have no trauma. We were not separated from our peoples and our heritage. Then under slavery, we got the worst treatment. And Democrats act like slavery was only in the South. No, slavery was all over America. Black people act like Jim Crow and segregation was only in the South. No, it was not only in the South. The North had their form of segregation. New York, I'm from New York. To this day, New York is a segregated state, and it's a liberal democratic state, and it's the most segregated state. Schools are segregated. Housing, finances, economics, education, law. It is segregation in all of that to this day. No more. Black people need to wake up. No more tokenism. Don't fall for this. Do not fall for this. Let it be known that Brittney Griner was just an attempt of tokenism, hoping to get first the LBGQTI votes, because that's what Biden been pushing so hard. Pass laws for them. Pass laws for them. Sympathizing for them. Hoping to get their votes. Pushing their agenda, but not pushing the agenda of Black Americans. Just like when Joe Biden, before he was running for president, or while he was running for president, he went to George Floyd's funeral, as he really cared about Black folks. Joe Biden don't care nothing about George Floyd. That was to get votes from black people. He's in office now. What did he do for what did he do legally to prevent these type of actions to happen again? Police brutality against blacks based on racism. Putting Derek Chauvin in prison, that's not going to solve the problem of racism in America, law enforcement and legal system. That's not going to stop them. That's not going to change anything. Right here in New York, right here in New York, liberal, probably the most liberal after California, liberal state after California. Right here, black mayor of New York, Eric Adams, black mayor of New York, who said that he's not going to build any more jails. They want to close down Rikers Island. I seen yesterday, man, they are building mega prisons, jails, all over New York in the 5 boroughs. This guy said he wasn't going to do it. New York, maybe the second liberalist state after California. The mayor, black himself, former New York NYPD, former police in New York, and has some activism for blacks while he was police. Is building more jails in New York, more, and the bigger ones. They said one of the jails is going to be in Manhattan. It's going to be the biggest jail, the biggest building, one of the biggest building in jails in Manhattan. That's what they claim. And they're building this in 5 boroughs. No, 4 boroughs. He's not building it in Staten Island because the people in Staten Island are conservatives. They're Republicans. He's building them in the blacks, Hispanic, and Asian communities. The Asians don't even want it in their community. Show how big. There's going to be a mega jail cell. Then he turned around, Eric Adams, and now they're going to imprison, arrest people who got mental health issues. You're going to force them to be, you're going to force the police to arrest them to go give them treatment. Going to force them. Fascist system. So I don't see nowhere in America, especially here in New York, where Biden supports American administration. I mean, Democratic Party here in New York. The governor of New York, who is Democrat, the mayor of New York, who is Democrat. They're not building any social systems to prevent people from going to prison. They're building more jails. So the Democrats don't have the answers for us. Biden doesn't have the answers for us. That's why he let that woman out, Brittney Griner. It's tokenism. Because he doesn't want to make any legal changes. He doesn't want to give any reparations to black. And most blacks, our people, unfortunately, are politically ignorant. So they're going to fall for these things. While when I look at the Democrats, especially here in New York, they're not doing nothing to change high crime. They say, hey, the answer for crime is to build more jails and bigger. They're building a huge, massive jail in New York. The Democrats are. Instead of making social problems or social programs to deal with social issues that cause people to do crime. These people are very educated. The Democratic administration, they believe in education. They probably are the most educated white people in the North. Most educated. They understand sociology. They understand psychology. Well, if you have a lot of poverty and the people are doing crime because they don't have jobs and there's no opportunities and no education, well, building the jail is going to be the solution to fix those problems. They understand sociology. They understand psychology. What psychology say as the solution, what sociology say as the solution, they're not doing. But what the white supremacists say to deal with black people's issues, that's what they're doing. That's what they're doing. Oh, black people are committing crimes because there's no job opportunities. Kids are failing in school. The schools are not good, are not teaching. So what do? Do you change the teaching system? Do you bring economics? No, you just build bigger jails to put them in. This is the liberals. This is the Democrats. No different from the Republicans, except for the Democrats. They look like me. Some of them got skin like me and they smile. But they got the same objectives of the far right and conservatives related to black folks. Don't be fooled by the Democrats' tokenism. Don't be fooled by them. Don't be fooled. Biden let that girl go before them white folks, them other white folks in prison in Russia. It's tokenism because he don't want to give black folks reparation. Black people are talking about reparations everywhere. They are marching. They've been sitting down, gathering, meeting, talking about, not remotely. They've been doing it remotely, online, and physically. There was a rally not so long ago in DC for reparation. Black people are gathering, talking about reparations. They're meeting. They're making a voice heard. Reparations. Economics for blacks. Something tangible. Not tokenism. That's what Biden did when he released that female, Brittney Griner. Tokenism, because they don't want to give reparation. They think this is going to get them reelected. Nah, man, Brian, I think you probably lost voters, especially your white voters, because they see clearly you're off code. The white man, you have your own code. And it makes sense. It's like, hey, man, how them other American prisoners who've been in prison in Russia longer than Brittney Griner, how does she get out first? How does she get out first? Because Biden think this strategy, he knocking out two birds with one stone. By helping getting her release, he at least he's going to get the votes from the LBG community and some of the black folks are going to vote for him. Oh, look, Biden helped this black girl. Biden said, I'd rather do that, which doesn't cost America anything, instead of giving them reparation. But Biden got billions of dollars to give Ukraine. Biden got billions of dollars to give Ukraine, the white folks in Ukraine. And on top of that, give them billions of dollars, then allow them to come as migrants to America. And it ain't going to the slums. They're not going to the projects. They're going to go to middle class and upper middle class neighborhoods. And they're going to easily get American citizenship because their skin is white. So when they come to America, they come into America as refugees. You know what refugees qualify for? All type of social, economical help from the government, welfare, housing. And who's paying for that? Black people, black taxpayers like ourselves. You're going to pay for that. On top of that, you give them $5 billion. Then you let hundreds of them come to America. Was that 300,000 or between 100,000 or 300,000 Ukrainians? And then they're going to be able to get, on top of that, all the help from the American social system, which American taxpayers pay for. But you don't want to give black folks reparation? Biden, you're not getting my vote. I don't think another Democrat ever going to get any vote from black folks. It's a waste of time. Biden knew what he was doing. He'd rather let her go. Let her go. Brittney Griner, help her to go. So, because of tokenism, knock out two birds with one stone. I don't have to give black folks no reparation. I just give them tokenism and they're going to be happy. And then the Republican Party is talking about how Biden is allowing Brittney Griner to go before them other gentlemen who've been in prison longer than her. Even is an answer for those Republicans. When Trump was in office, when Trump was president, he didn't do nothing for them guys either. That's the answer. When Trump was in office, because a lot of black folks like, yeah, black people need to stop voting for the Democrats, them liberals. They don't care about black folks. They need to vote for the Republicans. Well, the truth is, when Donald Trump was in office, was the administrator, was the president, he didn't do nothing for those white gentlemen who are locked up in Russian prison. He didn't do nothing for them. He didn't get them released. Matter of fact, Donald Trump, while he was president, he didn't do nothing to turn back any of those LBGTQTI rights. He didn't do nothing to overturn those policies. He did nothing. He only worked to overturn one thing: Roe versus Wade. Because that's white survival right there. That's the white man's survival right there. So the Republicans, you guys don't have the answers, and you're only thinking about white folks yourselves. You're only thinking about white folks yourself. You're not thinking about no other Americans. Just white Americans are important to you guys. Your survival, nothing else is not important. Because Donald Trump, he had the opportunity to overturn all those things while he was office, and he had the opportunity to get those American veterans who are incarcerated unjustly in Russia. He had the opportunity to get them out, and he didn't. Probably because he was in cahoots, and it should make sense. He should be able to get them out because he has connection with Putin. That's very clear evidence, and he still didn't get them out. He didn't even care about them. Those American citizens who were veterans, he didn't even care about them. Trump was not alleged while Trump was in office. Was not alleged that he said when he was somewhere in Germany or Europe where a lot of American soldiers died in World War II, that one of the generals or somebody in the military had allegedly said that Trump said, why he wants to go there, them guys are losers. Allegedly, Trump said this about American soldiers. So the Republicans, they don't care about American people. Biden don't care about American people, black or white. Black people need to wake up, man. And the tokenism, come on, we got to see these things. I see black people, Biden helped Brittney Griner get out, man. That's tokenism. You're knocking out two birds with one stone. LBGQTI, that's the community she's from. And those black community who politically are ignorant, they're happy. But we didn't get nothing tangible. No reparation, no bills, nothing. White man spit our way, and we think that's beneficial. The white man spit our way. Spit our way. We're happy with that. The slave mind. The slave mind. We need to wake up, man. America, politically, our people, black people, politically in America, we're rocked to sleep. We rock to sleep. You know, they say, if you keep on doing the same thing and getting the same results, and here I'm speaking about negative results, if you keep on doing the same thing and getting the same negative results, why you keep on doing it? Why keep on voting Democrat? Blacks going to say, well, it's the lesser evil compared to the Republican Party. Then make your own party. Make your own party. Make your own organization. Make your own business. Make your own movements. Don't wait for the white man to come and do it for you. Do not wait for the government to do for you. Did not JFK have a famous saying? JFK have this famous saying, it's not about what your government could do for you, but it's what you could do for your government. It's not like one of the famous sayings of JFK. I remember this line from him when I was a little kid in school. It's not what your government could do for you, but what you could do for your government. Well, I'm flipping it. It's not what your government could do for you as black folks. It's what we could do for ourselves. I'm going to change it up a little bit. This is my version of JFK's statement. It's not what your government could do for you, black folks. It's what black folks could do for themselves. Don't get wrapped up into the tokenism of US politics, especially from the Democratic Party, that have no good intentions for black people. Tokenism will gives you the illusion, because tokenism is an illusion, and people don't know what it means. Tokenism is an illusion that you got some type of change. So when Biden freed her, the emotional black folks who was in love with white man want to say, look, the white people, they care. Look at Biden. Look at Biden, he care. But at the same time, Biden is helping her to get out of prison for marijuana charges. You know how many black Americans are locked up for marijuana all across the US? Why are you not lightening their sentences or getting them out? And the black peoples who are locked up in America for selling drugs like marijuana, because we don't have no economical institution in America for blacks, because black people been barred out of American economical institution. We've been barred out of it. We've been intentionally made not to be able to have access to wealth, because you don't want us to be competitive with the white system or white folks. So one day we get in power due to having the wealth and finances. So to make sure that black folks are not competitive against white America, you make sure we don't get finances and you lock us out of economics. But you make sure the immigrants come here and they get the economics and they get those opportunities, and you even flood them in the black communities so they can have business. The immigrants have business in the black community to make sure that black folks will have no access to economics, save a few who are bootlickers. So we are not competitive against white folks, because the white man is scared that one day black people get in power and that we're going to give them the type of justice they need. White man needs some type of justice from black folks, because it seems like the white man don't know how to live with human race. You're going to get some justice. If black people get power, we're going to start educating you guys. Your people with no mercy, no compassion. There's no democracy in America when it comes to blacks. This tokenism, freeing Brittney Griner, this tokenism. Look how many black people are locked up in prison in America from Joe Biden. Joe Biden himself. What did he say in the 80s when they passed that crime bill? He said, I don't care about their situation. I don't care about their homes, what situation they come out of. Meaning, he don't care about the economical situation black people coming out of, being poor due to the system making it that way to keep black people from money. He said, I don't care what type of financial situation they coming from. And then turn around, his son is a crackhead. He turn around, them same bills that he passed against black folks didn't affect his son, who was a crackhead on drugs, because his son is white and he have white privilege. He don't go to prison for smoking crack, but thousands of black folks went to prison for smoking crack. Not just selling crack, but even the victims of it went to prison under Joe Biden's crime bill. Don't be fooled by this tokenism from Joe Biden. He don't care about black folks. Black people need to start waking up, man. Just like JFK said, but my version. It's not what the government could do for you, black folks. This is my version. I'm gonna change up that liberal JFK. Because JFK wasn't 100% for black folks. Let's be clear. JFK was not 100% for black people. If you look and study history, which they teach in America, right here in New York, right here in the liberal New York in schools, JFK wasn't for the civil rights movement in the beginning. Wasn't. And JFK also okay for the FBI to spy on Martin Luther King Jr. Don't forget that the liberals did that. JFK, but JFK made that statement. It's not what your government could do for you, it's what you could do for your government. I tell black folks, it's not what the US government could do for blacks, it's what black people could do for themselves. Them peoples are not, the Democratic Party will not get give black people reparation. They will not make no legal changes, anything tangible to stop, to reverse slavery, the effects of slavery and Jim Crow, anything to reverse the effects of slavery, Jim Crow, testing on black folks. Don't even forget about that. Mass incarceration for black folks. Economically, keeping black people in the positions they are in, segregating them. They're not going to do anything to reverse those things. Those things were made by intentions. They had intentions for those. And it's working. So when you see what's going on with black folks, we're struggling, that's what the system was intended to do. And they're going to make sure those things stay in place. That's why Joe Biden is giving you tokenism. What is tokenism? Tokenism is like this eyeglass case. See this eyeglass case? What's inside of the eyeglass case? What's tokenism in reality? It's nothing. Tokenism, which is what you find inside this eyeglass case. What is in there? Nothing. What belongs in there? Something tangible belongs in there. Something tangible. What is he giving you, Biden? Nothing. There's nothing in here. Nothing. Tokenism is just like this. It's nothing. Everything that he's doing is nothing. Doesn't change or reverse the effects of slavery, Jim Crow, segregation, mass incarceration, all the things that were deliberately done to black folks in America to keep us behind, to make sure that black people are not competitive financially against white supremacists or the white supremacist system. Even though we have low numbers, if they didn't do what they did, and we had some progress, for sure black people have influence in America, just like the few Jews in the U.S. have influence in U.S. government and policies and things like that. Few Jews in America that have influence in this country. But they on code also with white folks. They work to get that way. Jews were not in the beginning in the U.S. The Jews were not on the same level as white folks. White folks looked at Jews. But Jews proved to the white man they was very intellectual, understand economics, understand education, highly intellectual people. The Jews worked to in the positions they got to, and they're small in number. And the white man made sure when they seen that they was on code, they didn't put any type of policies or anything to prevent them from growing in America. And the Jews only few in number. Imagine if we didn't have that, we didn't have the white man preventing us from growing economically. If let's imagine if the U.S. government didn't flood our community with crack cocaine through COINTELPRO. Imagine if the U.S. government didn't use COINTELPRO to destroy the civil rights movements and activists. Even though we are not the majority in this country, we are the minority. Imagine how we will grow as a community. Instead of they flooded our community with drugs. They took the black man out the home with the welfare system. They decided to allow the black woman to get educated and not the black man. And then she has a preference in the workforce. They knew exactly what they were doing. Imagine if they didn't do that, how far black folks would have gone. But they did it for a reason, because they don't want us to compete against them, because they know they did us evil in slavery. They know historically how evil they have done black people. We don't have to see what's in their heart. We see with their actions how they feel about black people. We don't have to see in their hearts I don't have to have proof from their heart or what they're thinking about black folks. We see it from your actions. So white man has to make sure that black folks stay in a position that they by design to put us in. Because what happened in Haiti, they don't want it to happen in America. What happened in Haiti's revolution, how they ran out the French, white folks in America don't want that to happen to white men in this government, in this country. They want to make sure black people don't get in power. And they, like I said, they have a philosophy. They have two schools of thoughts. White supremacy have two schools of thoughts. And you be looking at them every day. The liberals, white supremacy, one school of thought, and conservatives, Republicans and Democrats. Two different schools of thoughts of white supremacy. They're two sides of the same coin. It's just the liberals, they appear to be your friend. They're worse than the conservatives and Republicans. They're worse than them. They're worse than them. Republican, far right, oh, we don't like black folks. We don't like, they call you the N-word. They have no problem. At least I know who my enemy is. At least they make it clear that we're not friends. Liberals, they come and smile. Actually, they send the black person, black skin to you, stab you in the back. What did Obama do when he was president? Obama didn't do anything for black folks. Obama, while he was in office, what did he do for black people? Name me one thing. Legally, tangibles. Obama's the worst. Worst sellout. Obama's the worst sellout. Why I say Obama's the worst sellout? Because Obama, by trade, by skill, what is he? A civil rights lawyer. Oh man, that's deep. Obama's a civil rights lawyer. Civil rights lawyer. You know what that means? He knew about racism in America. He knew about the systemic racism in America. He understands that. He went to law school for it. And while he was president, he didn't do nothing to make any changes for black people who are black like him. Rather yet, before he left office, Obama, what did he do? Executive order, Blue Shield. Go look that up on Google. It's on the White House website. The executive order of, I believe it's called Blue Shield. He gave police more power. And while Obama was in office, you were seeing police brutality. Police killing black folks because they black. And what Obama do? He give police executive order, giving them more power to what? Kill black people and legally power to do it. He gave them the legal power to do it, meaning that if they do it, it's hard to indict them. Why you think Derek Chauvin in his case when he's killed George Floyd, you didn't see how much money they push into the defense team? I mean, the district attorney. You didn't see how much money they push into the district attorney? You didn't see how they had like 2 or 3 lawyers? You didn't see all the workers? Because they knew that the legal system was designed to protect police killing black folks. Don't be fooled by the Democrats' tokenism. Don't be fooled. That's all I wanted to say. If you like this channel, please click like and share the video. Thank you. My name is Abu Bara. I am the founder of Black American Muslim Opinions. We are just getting started. Our mission is to openly discuss and examine social issues faced by Black Americans in their communities and formulate solutions that can be implemented in these communities from an Islamic perspective. We need your support to keep the organization going. Your donations will help us do the work necessary to help Black people overcome their social and economic challenges. Visit our website and learn more about what we do.